Hello, I'm Ronald Lee. My professor is Dr. Jennifer Thompson, and my research project is studying the effects of using parallel assessments and standards-based curriculum on my 7th grade mathematics class. Let's get started. The reason why I'm interested in this is because I believe this affords a more focused curriculum for my students. And it's going to allow them to concentrate only on the material that they need to know. So it's a great benefit, hopefully, for my students. In my opinion, parallel assessments and standards-based curriculum support each other. In many cases, they go hand in hand. Standard-based curriculum basically takes everything that we have and says, this is what we need to concentrate on. This is what is most important for your students in 7th grade math. Parallel assessments takes that and says, if that's true, this is what your problems are going to look like. This is how you need to solve them. This is what you need to do to be successful in my classroom. So both of these together allows my students to concentrate on exactly what they need to know to show mastery of the material. They know what they're responsible for, and they know what they need to study. Research problem. There's a problem with my math students' ability to solve algebraic expressions. This impacts my students' ability to achieve mastery of the state standards. My students are having difficulty learning each lesson, and therefore this problem is compounded going forward in subsequent lessons. In our school, the curriculum is way too broad and shallow. It covers too much material. It's difficult for me as an instructor to know what to concentrate on and what to actually teach my students. And it's difficult for my students to know what to study and prepare for. The research question, what effect do parallel assessments and standard-based curriculum have on my 7th grade math students' ability to solve algebraic expressions? The end product is an instructional unit created to help students focus on their learning goals and how to properly express their answer. This includes parallel assessments, a pre and post assessment, and 3 days of lessons. I am showing the students, I emphasize what they need to concentrate on and how to develop mastery of the math lesson. I'd like to point out this is a big paradigm shift for my students. They've never seen a class like this. I'm so very eager to see what effect this method has on my class, on my students. These are parallel assessments in the form of a pre and post assessment. Between the two assessments is a 3-day lesson. This includes the actual lesson, daily worksheets, exit tickets, and I check in with my students constantly. Everything that we're doing emphasizes the material that the students need to understand with constant reinforcement to help them to emphasize their understanding, to help support their understanding. This research project used descriptive statistics by calculating the mean. The first establishment, the results from the first assessment, established the baseline and showed what the students know at the start. The results from the second assessment measure student growth after the 3-day lesson. The results of the two assessments are compared with each other to measure whether there was an increase in student knowledge. Results. The results. The mean pre-assessment score was 9.1. The mean post-assessment score was 13.97, which was an increase of 48%. And this is a big hurrah, right? Hurrah. However, a large portion of my class is satisfied with their grades and realized an increase of less than 50%. They're starting really low and they're not making any gains. Math just is not important to them. The other half of my class is very motivated and experienced an increase of 100% or more. Some of them had an increase of 150%. They're excited about the gain in the test score. Here's a graphic representation of my project. The first bar shows the pre-assessment scores. It comes in at about 9. The second bar shows the post-assessment score, and it comes in about close to 14. As I said, that's a 48% increase. So, what are my conclusions? Some students just don't apply themselves. They don't see much of a benefit in math or in the class. And as an instructor, this hurts. Math just isn't important to many of my students. It's the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but. However, some of my students are highly motivated and saw a large spike in their test scores. So, some students benefit, some students don't care to realize the benefits. Regardless of that, I feel, and this is just a personal opinion, that most of my students liked this instructional model, felt that it helped them navigate the lesson, felt that it made things clear for them. They enjoy the clarity that this methodology affords them. Some of the strengths. Well, one of the strengths is that this is a quantitative data measuring the difference in mean scores. This produces quick results. It's easy to understand. Just about everybody understands what I'm doing. I don't have to go into a lot of explanations about what I'm doing. This is pretty apparent to most people at first glance. Also, students are able to easily study the pre-assessment, and this allows them to increase their test scores. So they know where the ship is going, and they know how to get there. Some of the weaknesses are, this is a small sample size. This is this last bullet point I'd like to talk about in depth on my next screen, my next slide. So let's just go straight to that. What influenced the study's results? Well, first of all, this class is the first period of the day. My kids come in tired, they leave tired. This means that I don't have any behavior issues, but it also means that I don't have a lot of passion in my class. So, how hard are these students really working? What can I really get out of them? Also, there are attendance issues. I have 2 students with big attendance issues. I seem to remember at least 4 students missing at least one of the lessons in my 3-day lesson, and they make no effort to make up the missing class or understand what they missed. Again, that affects their test scores. Some of the students want to succeed, some of them don't. Some of them put in the work, some of them don't. I had one girl that I talked to, and she had a C plus, and I pulled her aside and I said, look, if you work with me, we can get you up to a B. And she said, gee, Mr. Lee, last year I got a D, this year I got a C. I'm so happy right now. Okay, that's great. God bless you. The second girl, same thing. She had a C plus. I said, I can get you up to a B, solid B. And she said, my dad's a tattoo artist. And when I graduated from high school, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. So she doesn't care about her math grades either. And, God bless her. She knows exactly what she wants out of life. And that puts her way ahead of most of her peers. So she knows what she wants. I hope she gets it. Maybe I can get a tattoo out of it. Finally, I have some students with special needs. And again, all these things affect the gain in test scores. So I have 2 students that have ADD, and I also have at least 3 students that test at the 4th grade level. So again, that affects their ability to increase their test scores. If I could do this again, areas for further investigation, I would like to dive down through the data deeper than I was able to. I would like to look at what kinds of problems they're having with the math. Is there some kind of a theme that a common theme to what problems the kids are having? We all know they don't like fractions. We all know kids have problems with negatives and double negatives. What else do they have problems with? Where else can we improve the instruction? I'd like to take this method and I'd like to repeat it for other lessons in the chapter and other chapters in the book. I have 2 other types of classes. One of my classes is very accelerated, very fast class, and my other class is filled with gifted kids. So I'd like to do the same methodology with all of my classes and see how did the other kids react to this method? Do they benefit from it, or is it something that they don't realize any benefits from? I'd like to repeat this with other teachers in my department and let them see if they also get any kind of result, any kind of gain in test scores. Finally, I'd like to talk to my families and see, are they seeing anything at home? Are they hearing anything from their students about my class? So in conclusion, I'd like to thank all of you for this experience. It has been more than I could have ever have dreamed about. Not only am I gaining in professional development, but I'm learning a lot about how I'm going to relate to my students as a teacher by taking the example that I got from you professors and what you provided to me. So I appreciate that very much. And I thank you guys very much for your time.